I remember I was 10 years old, just about to turn 11. My family and I were on our way back to Nandi from Suva. On our way back, we decided to buy KFC takeaway as lunch to eat at a beach alongside the Coral Coast. KFC had just opened in Fiji, so we were all very excited to try it. After having a fantastic lunch, we got back in the car and were on our way back towards our home when I randomly threw my plastic drinking cup out the window. My mom, who was sitting in front, instantly noticed that. She stopped the car, reversed, and told me to get out and get my trash. Frustrated, I obliged. It's not like I had a choice. And I banged the door when I got back in the car. She again told me to open the door and close it again, but this time to do it properly. It was one of the hardest things my proud 10-year-old self ever did. Hi, Mom. She then looked straight into my eyes and said something which resonates with me to this day, and in a lot of ways, laid the very foundation to the worldview I have. She said, if you don't respect the land will never respect you. 10 years later, I started studying environmental science as my undergraduate degree. No surprises there. And I started to actively volunteer for environmental organizations and participating in a lot of cleanup campaigns. Although nobody could doubt the selfless dedication of the thousands who undertake these efforts, I always felt that such cleanups was not the best way to tackle plastic pollution that was choking our rivers, impacting marine life, harming mangrove ecosystems, and in a lot of ways also affecting us. I asked why. Why were simple cleanup campaigns not addressing the root causes of this issue? Cleaning a beach was not turning the tide, because the tide will come in again, depositing more plastic cups, waste, straws, bags, and discarded fishing equipment. And what we essentially did was pick up rubbish from one area and then send it to another area, a landfill, where it takes over 1,000 years for plastic to degrade. I was convinced that simple cleanup campaigns was not the answer. It was only a temporary solution. What we needed to do was reduce unnecessary plastic at source, design less harmful products, and develop better recycling processes. I read many articles on alternatives, and I was convinced that there was no point in mopping the floor until you turn off the tap. Mass production of plastics, which began just over 6 decades ago, has accelerated so rapidly that it has led to the creation of 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic waste, out of which only 9% has ever been recycled. What about the remaining 91%, we have to ask? And if that seems like an incomprehensible quantity, it is. Even the scientists who first set out to conduct the world's first tally on how much rubbish has been produced, discarded, burned, or put in landfills have been absolutely horrified by the sheer numbers. It is estimated that in Fiji, a small, incomparable Pacific island country with less than 1 million population, produces 168.4 tons of plastic waste each day. 136 tons of this is mismanaged, according to a solid waste management report done in 2018. Just a few weeks ago, a study done by a University of the South Pacific Master of Science student, Andrew Perez, found that 65% of fish in Fiji waters contain microplastics. Another study done by Nina Wharton of the University of Adelaide found that 50.8% of fish sold at the supermarket contain microplastics. This is just one of the examples of the massive related consequences of plastic waste. And it certainly begs the question then, if the problem is so alarming, and it's now affecting our food, why isn't more being done about it? Why weren't we not doing anything about it? The good news is that plastic can be recycled, upcycled, and reused easily. With the right tools, it can be used as a raw material to create new products that can contribute to its circular economy. The circular economy model will compel plastic users to respect the renewable and regenerative policies. And in turn, it will help in the process of creative recycling and entrepreneurship efforts aimed at protecting life both on land and below water. So in 2018, my friends and I formed Precious Plastic Fiji. It is a completely youth-led organization that adopted and localized the principles of a global movement that provides a solution to plastic pollution. An organization that applies commercial strategies to maximize improvements in financial, social, and environmental well-being. Precious Plastic Fiji team consists of 5 key individuals that come from diverse backgrounds, who contribute their skills and expertise to progressing the objectives of the organization. Working with youth in Fiji and in future the region, we aim to introduce locally, practical, and sustainable alternatives to address plastic pollution. And we want to ensure a holistic impact, whereby we educate, reduce waste, and at the same time empower communities. So, for our young team, the concept of providing a hub to address plastic waste was far-fetched in the beginning, as the resources required to begin such operations was not forthcoming, as you can imagine. Doubts also set in on the level of impact we would make in our capacity as young people. There we were, 5 new kids on the block, with 0 to no work experience and a similar bank account balance, trying to target a problem of this magnitude. However, one particular image during one of our meetings helped really boost my team's energy, and it made us believe in our mission and commit to it. This is when my co-coordinator, Zen Wangavonovono, took this image on the way to one of our meetings. This image cleared our doubts by replacing it with a sense of responsibility. We no longer saw a problem, we saw opportunity. We knew that the blame game on who was responsible and writing to and waiting for the governments or town councils to take action was our creative energy being wasted. As vicegerents of this planet and as citizens of this nation, the primary responsibility laid with us, each and every one of us, to bring about change. Our efforts were transformed into an establishment of an organization in order to give our vision a sure sense of identity and direction. 1 year later, our organization enjoys a network of like-minded youths, reputable CSOs, and organizations working together to educate and address on plastic waste. So these are the machines we have at the moment. And from left to right, we have the plastic shredder, the compression oven, the injection molder, and the plastic extruder. So the first step to giving plastic a second life is the plastic shredder. It has sharp metal teeth which shreds the plastic into fine flakes, which will then be used as the input to all our other machines. This is the injection molder. And with the injection molder, what we do is we put the shredded plastic on top, and it melts the plastic into a liquid, which is then injected into a metal mold. And depending on the shape of the mold, we can make anything from doorknobs to floor tiles
That's full.
to plastic coasters.
Yeah.
It took 10 VTY and AquaSafe bottles to make one plastic coaster. Next is the compression oven. But the compression oven heats the shredded plastic into a preformed metal mold. And it's normally used to create items which are much bigger in size. For example, a bowl or a bucket or large sheets of plastic. And the next is the plastic extruder. So the plastic extruder also melts the plastic and then extrudes it into a filament, which can be used to develop the things which are on the right. Our plastic extruder can also be used to develop the raw material needed to operate a 3D printing machine. These are some of the other products that we can create using the machines we have at the moment. Even plastic beams for construction, which can be used to make bus shelters and also mobile phone cases. It is also worth mentioning that recycling plastic takes 88% less energy than creating plastic from raw material. We have partnered with multiple organizations throughout Fiji and carried out a lot of projects. Our partnership with Field Ready included the creation of items for humanitarian applications and also for people with disabilities. This includes braille keyboards, wheelchair fittings, and straw holders with metal straws. With Fiji Surfers Association, we are planning to hold a beach cleanup campaign in Singatoka, whereby all the plastic waste that we collect will then be used to form surfboard fins, plastic surfboard fins, for them to use. The RIA project, which is a joint initiative between USP, UNICEF, Field Ready, and Precious Plastic Fiji, will involve the education of students on plastic waste and teach them the process of recycling and upcycling. We are also planning to host a national competition between schools that will link to the creative ways of utilizing plastic. Even though we are a group that still has many milestones to cross, all our efforts are aimed at practical solutions that can easily be adopted within the Pacific context. Solutions that are cost-effective and impactful at all levels, while at the same time generating job and alternative sources of revenue for the marginalized and rural communities. This is why we believe that Precious Plastic Fiji has the potential to provide a solution for Fijian communities. We have successfully established the name and identity of Precious Plastic as a social enterprise, and we are ready to expand. We are now in the process of recruiting new members and are scouting commercial space to set up operations. Plastic pollution of our lands, rivers, and seas is a monumental, multifaceted problem that has global consequences. There is no silver bullet and no single activity that can turn back the clock. However, public engagement is critical to ensure behavior change and increase pressure on governments and businesses to take action. The world is changing, and we, the young people, are at the forefront of that change. Young people are empowering themselves as advocates and entrepreneurs, and in doing so, they are creating new solutions, jobs, and opportunities. Precious Plastic Fiji wants to have its share of this future for the young people. We must accept the new realities that young people already understand and utilize their energy and enthusiasm to help empower them. As with all environmental challenges we face today, everyone has a role to play if the tide is to be definitely turned. You need not have a science degree or a role in government to make a positive difference. Be the 10-year-old me. Force yourself to take action. The usual saying goes that it's never too late to start. But I say, it's never too early. Thank you.